It hits the weekend. My mind starts wandering. It's getting closer to me, and I can't stand waiting. And I feel that I'm moving, and I can't help thinking maybe I'm falling deep. I'm falling deep. Underneath the bright lights, neon bliss with electric, and I won't stop connecting. People won't stop connecting.
Hello and welcome back to Transmissions from the Bunker. My name is Satyr.
And I'm Pastor Recoil.
This is your second bonus premium special Uber Extra Season 2 episode.
Transmissions 3.0.
Yes, it is Web 9.8 compatible.
Yes. Yes, this is your bonus episode. Now, see, here's the thing. We're not in a good mood right now.
No, we actually just basically had another show.
Yeah.
But we didn't record it. We were just talking.
The current call timer on our Skype call is, well, 37 minutes at this point.
That would have been a show.
And that would have been a good bonus content,
it's someday, maybe.
So we won't, one of these days we will have this conversation on air.
Yeah.
But not yet.
It's touchy.
Well, it's not for us, but other people, like your crowd would get mad at you and not my crowd would get mad at me, and
everyone would hate us, which is pretty normal.
Yeah, but it's just
this episode,
neither of us are quite on board with what either of our crowds talk about.
Right. Because everybody's full of shit. Speaking of full of shit.
Yeah.
This episode is all about E.V.Ps.
Yes.
And I'm sorry for the spoiler alert.
Yeah. Now, here, before we really get into any of this,
yes.
First, I think we should take just a minute, and explain to the people, because we got some new listeners, people who haven't been around us too much.
Okay.
Explain to the listeners just why we know what we're talking about when it comes to audio.
Okay. So, I've been making music a really long time. I have a certificate somewhere. I've spent a lot of many hours in a recording studio making weird sounds. I've studied audio. I not super smart, but I know enough to know things. Yeah. Trying really hard not to. Yeah. So that's me. Sure.
Yeah. I've been playing music for over 20 years now. I've been involved with live sound for around about 15 years now. Recording for about 10. And by the by, my undergraduate degree just happens to be in electrical engineering.
Right. So I'm basically just here to cuss when he gets too mad.
Yeah, but by the by,
right.
I just throwing that out there. My senior project was to make a mic preamp.
Damn. Do you still have it?
I got the parts somewhere.
Oh,
I guess I could put it back together, but yeah, I have the parts somewhere.
So we're not. I don't think either of us by any means considers ourselves like audio gurus. There's a lot both of us don't know for sure,
but there's a lot that we do know.
Right, like how to mic a drum kit with ribbon mics now after those videos last night. Gosh. My God. Anyway, so and the reason I bring this up is because another show. well, I'll just say it. Mysterious Universe last week.
Seeing as we're calling them out and all.
Right. Kind of, but more.
Well, kind of. We're not really calling them out. We're
going to use them as a pivot point.
Yes.
To call out a whole bunch of people. So they had a guest on who specialized in EVPs.
No, and I just want to be clear. He sounds like a really nice guy.
And
I almost feel a little bit bad that he happened to be the catalyst for this.
Right.
Because he really does sound like a nice guy.
Yeah, very much so. And it's not him at all. And I understand how he got to believe what he does, because this EVP thing's been around a while, and there's been a lot of really bad information floating around for quite some time. And it's when you build crap information on crap information on crap information, you get 10 levels deep. I can look at that guy and say, well, obviously that doesn't make any sense. But other people are like, no, because if you go back through the history, and no, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
So for those who might not know, because I know that we have some listeners who aren't interested in paranormal stuff. A lot of our listeners
are, paranormal folk.
Right.
I'm going to just throw a disclaimer out there. I think most paranormal stuff is BS. I'm not going to say all.
Okay.
I'm just going to say most.
Okay. I will say that I am highly intrigued by a lot of it. I find it incredibly intriguing. As with EVPs, I have yet to see anything concise in any area that makes me go, oh yeah, of course there's Bigfoot,
I got you.
Of course, I believe mathematically in aliens.
Well, yeah,
right. Like, of course,
that equation, the probability either comes up as 1 or 0, and it's never anything in the middle.
Right. So mathematically, I believe in aliens, alien life outside of this planet. I've never personally seen anything that makes me go, oh, well, of course there are, other than giraffes, because those things can't possibly come from this planet.
We mentioned the platypus on the last show.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's true.
There's something
something weird.
Looks like an alien said, I wonder what happens if you put these 4 animals together.
Right. Franken thingy.
Let's take a duck, an otter, a snake.
Right. Only let's put the snake venom in his junk.
Yeah, exactly.
Electronic voice phenomena are electronically generated noises that resemble speech but are not the result of intentional voice recordings or renderings. Common sources of EVP include static, stray radio transmissions, and background noise. Interest in the subject normally surrounds claims that EVP are of a paranormal origin, though there are natural explanations such as apophenia, finding significance in insignificant phenomena, auditory, how do you say it, pareidolia? Interpreting random sounds as voices in their own language, equipment artifacts or simple hoaxes, which are offered to explain them. Recordings of EVPs are often created from background sounds by increasing the gain, i.e. sensitivity. I'm not comfortable with that, of the recording equipment. Parapsychologist Konstantina Rodive, who popularized the idea, describes EVP as typically brief, usually the length of a word or short phrase. That comes directly from Wikipedia.
Yes. And what we're kind of getting at in reading that is basically saying EVP happens.
Right. Of course it does.
EVP coming from a paranormal perspective, we're not so sold on.
Right. So, and you were kind enough to go through and basically break down some of the important statements from the MU thing. Again, Mark seems like a great guy.
Yeah,
but here we go.
Yeah, it's sadly, I do apologize, Mark, but because you'll totally hear this.
God, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I mean, but
and again, it's not you.
You're just lucky enough to be the one that kind of tipped us over the edge.
We really could have just thrown a dart at a wall.
Yeah.
But, and honestly, most of these things anybody who you hear talking about EVPs,
they
says
say a lot of the
things.
same stuff.
So
First, I just want to. There's something I just want to do real quick, and it may or may not work.
okay.
Give me 1 second. I wasn't planning on doing this before.
Oh, it's a special treat.
Yeah, it is a special treat in a way, but I have to see if I can pull it off first.
Okay.
What I'm going to try to do is create EVP.
Oh, this should be interesting.
Yeah,
On the fly, even.
on the fly. I'm going to try to, or at least make conditions that are conducive to EVP.
Okay.
So let's see. Oh, there we go. All right, there's step one. Turn the gate off. Right there. And okay, so because I'm annoyed at white noise right now.
So what exactly did you just do?
Okay, so
'Cause that
what I
hurt
did,
a lot.
I turned on my television to a blank station.
Okay.
If you turn your television to a blank station, you get something called white noise. It's that hissy sound, like
Right.
just kind of go.
Right.
For those that care, it means it's equal energy per frequency.
You can actually watch, if you are watching the television, the image that's showing on your screen is that energy.
Yes,
Kind of. But
kind of. It's
Right.
it's that energy that's controlled a bit.
right. So that's why you see black and white speckles everywhere.
Yeah. Now there are many other kinds of noise that we don't need to get into.
Right.
Um,
Pink noise. I like
Yeah.
pink noise. Anyway.
noise, brown noise, red noise.
Yeah. And a lot of that comes from, a lot of the different types depends on how it's being generated.
Now, but then the next thing I did is I just basically turned my microphone up so that it got all fuzzy.
Right. Picked up some more, kind of a little bit clippy.
Yeah. And then when it made the kind of swooshy noises, that was just a pitch shifter that I was,
Yeah.
moving up and down. Now, normally what happens is the noise generator is quite a bit quieter. And it just kind of sits there for a while, picking up noise generator noise, and just background noise in the room.
Right.
I didn't have time for that, and my room is really rather quiet.
Right. Because
I kind of aimed for
the
that.
point. Right. I could have used my room. It's not very quiet.
Well, you could have used your room before you got your new computer
true.
stuffs. But I mean, that's basically the idea and how these EVPs get recorded. It's something that's unexpected, and it just so happens that it kind of vaguely sort of sounds like a people.
Right. And okay, that is one way in which EVPs are recorded, yes. Because there are other ways. There's more
This is
popular
true. There are-
ways.
There are
Because
more
that
ways.
entails having a noise generator, which not a lot of people even would know where to buy one.
Correct.
So if we go, all right. So there is the environment
Yes.
in which, I mean, email us, tell us if you heard anything. And I swear I wasn't
Yeah.
whispering. I almost did, just to throw in the little hoax aspect, but no.
Yeah.
So the problem with noise generators is, and static, especially,
Uh-huh.
is that you're working with an energy source that's being manipulated even before it gets to you, right? Like what is on your television screen is being manipulated by gravity.
Yeah.
There's, every telephone call in existence is floating through it at some point.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff that's other stuff going on. I mean, there's, yeah.
And it gets weird too. I had an amplifier, a guitar amplifier when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And if you switched it to a certain setting, it had like a 3-way setting deal on it, it would pick up a local Mexican radio station.
Oh yeah. Was it, did you sing I'm on a Mexican
radio? No, but I used to play along a lot.
Okay.
Because it was fun. That's just a guitar amp plugged into a wall, picking up radio signals. It's not even meant to do that.
Yeah.
And here you're using...
Well, and where that comes in is just how sound is recorded. I mean, we probably ought to bring that up if we're going to talk about EVPs.
Right.
A microphone, we're all pretty comfortable with what a speaker does, right?
Right.
I mean, I think there's big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You put wires in it and it makes noise.
Right. Big magnet back there that shakes the big thing back and forth.
A microphone works basically the exact opposite.
Yeah. In fact, you can plug speakers into a microphone input and yell into it, and it actually works sometimes.
Yes.
Depending on the speaker.
Depending on the speaker.
Right.
But the microphone basically works the opposite way. Sound comes in, and then it gives electricity out.
Right.
I mean, that's highly simplified, but...
Nuh-uh. That sounds like... That's how I built mine. I just took a microphone and yelled into it, and then electricity came out.
But and that's where like picking up a radio station, that's why that happens, is because that's the electricity that gets into it.
Right.
And then it comes out the other end through the speaker, because the speaker doesn't care what the electricity is. Right. It doesn't know better than if it's a guitar or a radio station. Yeah. It's just going to give it to you.
Right. And it was, a lot of that had to do with the amplifier itself was really cheap. So it wasn't necessary. Anyway, that's...
Well, that brings up something we'll mention later.
Right. We'll get there as well. So microphones. I love our microphones. We both use the same mic.
Yes, they work very well for us.
They're fairly cheap, incredibly sturdy. I've dropped mine several times.
Oh yeah. The small diaphragm works really well recording drums. Actually, surprised the heck out of me.
And vocals too.
Don't get me started on that one.
So, if you were putting together an equipment list, right?
Okay.
We're gonna be both pro and con here. Okay. You're going to be the audio guy, and I'm going to be the EVP guy.
Okay.
We're putting together equipment to go record EVPs.
Okay.
At a haunted house.
And you're the paranormal guy.
Yes, I'm the guy who...
And I'm the pro audio guy.
Yes, because you know more about pro audio than I do.
And so you know more about paranormal than I do.
Right. So there we go. So we're going to put together a kit list. You're going to explain why your equipment is better, and I'm going to explain why mine is better.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
The start of the signal chain.
Yes. The microphone.
I want a really good flat response microphone.
Okay.
One that that picks up low frequencies, middle frequencies, high frequencies, just as good as everything else.
Okay.
Because I want to pick up what I'm hearing.
Right.
I want to pick up what's there. And I want to be as close to what's there as I can possibly get.
Okay. So you want a microphone that picks up what you would physically hear in that space as best as possible.
Correct.
Okay. So
the microphone should be transparent. If I'm picking up an E.V.P, especially because the whole point is that it's not an acoustic sound. So I want to take the microphone out of the equation as much as I can.
Okay. Well, true.
Yeah.
So what kind of mic would you think?
You know, I would go with one of the, you know, $300-$400 or so system testing mics.
Oh, good call. Because that's
like an
very
omnidirectional, very flat. I'd pull up the model number, but there's an Earthworks one that's like $300 or $400, and that's the one I'd probably go for.
and it's actually built kind of to do that, right?
It's designed to pick up it's designed so that the electrical signal is as identical to the acoustic signal as possible.
Okay. So I'm going to put a little list here. So I got,
okay.
I'm going to go with the low end on yours because we can pick it up on eBay for a little cheaper probably.
Yep, you're probably right. I'll actually do a search.
Okay. I'm going to, let's see. I know as a paranormal person that ghosts don't work that way, right? Because there's proof. I'm a little jaded. Can you tell already?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to Radio Shack, and I'm going to get some really cheap, just like $10 mics, where the cord's like built into it, and it's got an on-off switch because that's good for ghosts. And the whole point of me buying this is I know that the signal chain needs to be as noisy as possible in order to pick up EVPs.
Okay.
So we want the noisiest possible, most disgusting sounding mic we can get. Because the ghosts use that to manipulate the sound on the final recording. So we need to give them as much to play with as possible.
And see, already, as a pro audio guy, I'm going, why?
Well, because that's how ghosts work. It's been proven time and time again that they use the equipment. I've tried. Here comes quotes. Here. I've tried using $300 microphones before, but they don't work as well. The $10, $20, $30 mics work a lot better in picking up EVPs from my own personal experience.
Okay, so let's just carry on with the equipment list, and then we'll sort it all out.
Okay.
So now let's go to what are we plugging it into?
Right.
Now, at this point, again, if I'm looking for something coming in to if I'm looking for something in the electrical realm,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with a relatively clean but unshielded preamp.
Okay.
Now, how I'm going to find one is a better question. Because the whole point of a preamp is to get rid of external noise.
Right.
But maybe I'll take a good solid state preamp and just take it out of its case.
Oh. Because
I want it to be unshielded. If it's an electro voice phenomenon.
Right. You want to give them the
ability. I want to get
this
things in there.
Right. Okay.
So let's go with just generic solid state preamp with no shielding.
Okay. And I'm not actually going to use a preamp. I've found in my years of experience that it doesn't really matter. The thing.
Okay.
I have nothing there because I've never once heard anyone in EVPs talk about what they plug their mics into.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, I do, but we'll get there in a second.
Okay, so what are we going to record with then?
Right.
Now, so I'm picking up an electronic voice phenomenon, so I have to record in analog.
Okay.
So I can't record to MP3.
Right.
I can't record to a computer.
Okay.
I can't record to a CD.
Okay.
I can't record to a DAT tape.
Okay.
So I'm going to bust out the reel-to-reel.
Oh. Okay.
Reel-to-reels have been used for years. They're very clean naturally compared to like a cassette tape.
True.
So I'm going to record in analog on a reel-to-reel.
And on a side note here, say you were spending the evening You've got 8 hours. You're going to record this room for 8 hours.
I could get an 8-hour reel to reel.
Okay. And you would just, and how many times would you use that?
What do you mean?
That, the actual tape.
Well, I just recorded the once.
Oh, okay. And why would you only use it the once?
Well, because things are based in time, right? So if I want to actually hear an electronic voice phenomenon, then I would expect it to happen at a certain time. So
Right.
it would really make no sense to record over it because I want to find out what's actually happened.
Okay. So, okay. So you've got an 8-hour tape on a reel-to-reel.
8-hour tape.
You have a solid-state preamp where you've taken the case off.
Yep. So there's no shielding
And
to get rid of the external noise that I'm trying to pick up.
And you have an Earthworks M23 microphone.
Yep. That is effectively transparent acoustically.
Okay. And that reel-to-reel is probably going to set you back.
Couple grand.
Yeah. And
At
I mean,
least.
an 8-hour tape would probably
Yeah.
cost you.
Yeah. But no,
It's not a cheap endeavor.
No,
to go that.
not in the slightest.
No. But it follows through with this concept of the EVP. I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, I have an old Sony tape deck that my parents got for me when I was little. You've probably seen them. They have the handle on it.
Oh, yeah, I love
And the
those.
speaker
I have
built
one of
in.
those.
Yeah.
And it's a red tape deck, and there's a blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it little pops up a little. Well,
Yeah.
and it's got its own preamp built in, so I can just plug my $20 mic directly into it.
Okay.
And
you're recording on a cassette tape, of course.
yeah, cassette tape, which are kind of expensive anymore. So I've just been using the same ones over and over. Like when I've had the same tapes for.
Do you like degauss them in between, or
Do I?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah, and the cassette tape is amazing. It seems like the longer I have it, the more EVPs I pick up. It's crazy.
Okay. And now you don't use any kind of Dolby on there, of course. No Dolby noise reduction.
No, just whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's got a little volume knob so that I can turn it up or down.
Oh, okay.
So I can do it that way. And this setup, it's been fairly cheap. The tapes, again, been using the same ones. So, I mean, all in all, it really hasn't been that expensive, and it's tried and true. Picks up EVPs every time.
Now can we rip it apart?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
First of all, no one in EVPs would ever go with your setup.
I know. Because it wouldn't ever pick one up.
Right.
It might pick up a hum.
and
It might pick up some weird wind noises.
And here's the thing, until someone does pick up an EVP on a system like that, I have no validity. I have absolutely no validity in EVPs.
Yeah.
Until someone can explain to me, like there, you would be able to say, well, I took the shielding off of the preamp there's the point. There's the specific point where the EVPs are happening.
Yeah. That I was inviting electromagnetic interference.
Yes.
I wanted it to happen.
So you took the shielding off.
So I took the shielding off.
Because if you left the shielding on, there would be nothing. It would just be the sound of an empty room.
Yep.
For 8 hours.
I'd even use an unbalanced cable just to invite electromagnetic noise. Let me throw that in there. Unbalanced. See, but I mean, that is as an audio person, that is what I would do. You get a clean setup.
Right. You know it's not the hardware. And if it is the hardware, you know the exact spot. And that's where you set it up to happen. That piece in the chain is built for that purpose.
Yes. I'm basically building a giant antenna to pick up whatever electronic nonsense is going on in the room.
Right. And see, of course I went a little extreme with mine. But I've seen people do this kind of stuff before. And the whole concept of using a really cheap mic because it picks stuff up. That's called artifacting.
Yes.
Look,
let me I wish there was an easy way to switch you to your webcam mic.
Oh, actually,
without breaking everything. But I don't think there's an easy way to do that.
I can do it on your end.
Okay, so we won't worry about that.
I'll just record something later so that you can hear me on my crappy webcam.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
but the point is, it wouldn't matter if there was a ghost in the room or not. You're going to hear weird things on that microphone.
Yes,
because it's not actually built up to snuff.
It's not built. It's built cheaply, and therefore it's built noisily.
Right, and you're going to pick up weird artifacting just in the microphone itself. You're going to hear weird noises. I mean, there's no telling if the diaphragm is loose.
Yeah.
And shaking. So if someone walks by, you could get a weird, oh, somebody's following you.
Well, yeah, let me turn my gate off real quick. Because a gate is designed to makes the microphone turn off when there's not a certain amount of sound at it.
Right.
So let me turn this off real quick. I mean, you can hear kind of in the background.
Right.
You know, there's a little bit of a fan noise. You can hear like every little thing I'm fidgeting with.
Right.
And that's not like I'm not trying to make noise. It's just what happens. I mean, you can hear my chair making stuff.
Right. Well, here's a perfect example.
Oh yeah, your room.
Let me turn my gate off so that you can hear my room. Lordy, this might sting.
Yeah, this is gonna be bad.
This is what my room sounds like without my noise gate.
Yeah, it's just,
you can hear the spit in my mouth. It's disgusting. You can hear my computer fan. You can hear my dog if you pay close attention.
Yeah,
my cats cleaning themselves.
I mean, you're gonna.
Okay, I've got to turn this back on.
Yeah, if you record just that for 8 hours, you're gonna hear something.
Right,
and it's
especially
your brain will interpret something as speech.
Right, and especially like if you could hear, mine's really compressed because I like to get right up on my microphone. Like I'm working on it. It's a thing. Anyway, my signal's really compressed, so you pick up even more of the room noise when that gate is off.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually pick up cars driving by, people outside talking.
Yeah, and it would be stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily hear either.
Right.
Because the gain's so high.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about, especially like a large diaphragm mic, the first time you ever put headphones on and talk into one, it blows your mind how much sound you're not actually hearing in the world around you.
Well, it's not that you're not hearing it. It's you just kind of shut it off.
Right. You don't hear your brain shuts off. I mean, you don't hear the sound of air passing through your ear canal, even though it is happening every moment of every day. But your brain shuts it off so that it can actually pay attention to words and things that are important.
Yeah, but microphones don't have that switch.
Right. They don't have selective hearing.
No. So the cheap microphone is going to give you, it's going to make all of that stuff that you don't hear sound weird because it's a cheap microphone.
Right. And I mean, that's not even getting into the electronics of the cabling or the plugs or what kind of,
this is just sound coming into the microphone.
Right. So that if you want, and I've heard E.V.P people say, well, that gives them more room to play with the electronic. That's not it's not it's so hard. It's so hard.
If it's an electronic voice phenomenon, acoustic noise shouldn't matter.
Right. Right. So the microphone, anyway, I think all right.
Okay. Yeah. I think
it gets me a little aggravated because, so the preamp, why on earth would you need a preamp?
Well, for a lot of microphones, especially a lot of good microphones, there's something called condensers.
Right.
Now, condenser mics you can't just plug a cable into them and get sound out the other side.
They need power.
You have to put a direct current voltage akin to a battery so that they work.
Yes.
That's one of the big reasons why you need a preamp. I mean, the other reason is just preamps make things sound better. And in this case, the preamp with its shielding taken off is where I intended to pick up the electronic voice phenomenon, because the preamp is purely electronic.
Right.
It doesn't deal with acoustic noise at all.
Right. That's the point in the chain that you've built. You're focusing all of the electronics into this spot.
Yes.
And opening it up saying, hey, come fuck with my electronics.
Come phenomena.
Phenomena. So I've, again, never seen anyone in EVPs use a preamp. Some people, and sometimes they go that route. They tweak, they do weird things to their preamps. It's kind of hit or miss. It's kind of hit or miss, because if you tweak something wrong inside of the body of the preamp, you're screwing with the electronic version of that sound. So of course you're going to hear something wrong. It's going to sound weird if you kick the inside of a preamp when it's open.
Yeah.
So it's a little sketchy, but going with, if you're using a good mic, you're going to need a preamp. That's a perfect spot to do the thing.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's entirely electronic.
You chose to go to right back out to analog to record.
Just straight to a reel-to-reel, and it's just basically it's taking the electronic signal out of the preamp and putting it on a piece of magnetic tape.
Right. And that's what my Sony cassette player does.
And it's a brand new tape, because I don't want to hear I don't want to hear what the thing recorded yesterday. I want to hear what it recorded today.
And this is getting more and more difficult. I was thinking about this the other day, that, there's fewer and fewer people out there who remember making mixtapes over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they got weird.
Oh, yeah. And after a while, like, the tape starts to stretch.
Yep.
I mean, it gets really...
Oh, and when the tape starts to stretch, then the pitch just drops.
Right, or
it's
speeds
going
up,
slower, or it speeds up. Yeah,
and
I remember having a giant magnet that we used to hold on cassette tapes to erase them thoroughly.
Right. And even then, like, I used to
even
record,
then it doesn't all the way do it, but
right. I used to take it with this. I really did have this little Sony cassette tape player, and I used to plug my stereo into it. Right. And I would play a song on the stereo and record it on the Sony tape player, but then I would like swing it back and forth in front of the magnet that was on the back of my guitar amp. So
sorry. That's awesome.
But I mean, this was me as a little kid playing with audio.
Yeah.
This was the weird stuff that I did. And you would always get these really weird sounds to come out.
Because it would be this like half erased, but not quite.
And the speed would get all warbled.
Oh, yeah.
It was really fun. I wish I was young and...
Wish you were young and stupid again?
Right. Also, you can't use a recording head for 20 years.
Yeah, because it will get old.
And basically what it's doing is it is magnetizing a magnetic tape, right?
Yep.
So it's a magnet. And after a while, like you've when you were little, took the thing and rubbed it on the pen to make magnetized a needle.
Yeah.
Like, just simply because it's magnetics, that head isn't going to last very long before it starts to lose its ability to properly record.
And the tape will lose its ability to be recorded upon.
Right. Which is why you asked me if I had at least on these tapes.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Degaussing or degaussing. I can never remember which one exactly.
Which is, in theory, supposed to realign all of the little magnetic fragments on the tape so that it revitalizes it a little bit.
It's a much faster way of erasing it than running it through the machine.
Right.
Because here's what happens when you record onto a cassette tape. There's an itty bitty magnet that does the recording.
Mm-hmm.
Before that magnet, there is a slightly bigger magnet that erases what's on the tape before you record it.
Right. But it doesn't
always do
work.
a good job.
Right. Yeah. And that erasing head is one of the first things to go too.
Oh yeah.
Like especially on old Walkmans and stuff, those erase heads lasted a week.
Yeah, it's bad.
No bueno. I just went
But,
robot-y.
No, yeah, it's fine. But that's the idea. I mean, so the standard way that folk typically go about finding EVPs is to create as much noise within the system as possible.
Right. And then claim, oh, there's voices in it. Well, there's lots of excess sound that doesn't need to be there. If there are really ghosts who are honestly trying to interact with you by screwing with the electronics and the electronic signal in your equipment, those would be there anyway.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter if you had extra noise or not.
Right. That just but I can hear it already. No, but that's
that's
how it works. That's how it works.
See, that's the thing. The argument is, well, but it's never worked that way before, and I hear them in this other stuff. It's like exactly
right, because I still have yet to hear an EVP that I think is actually real.
There have been a couple that I've gone, well, I guess that could be saying what they say it's saying.
Right.
But most of the time it's just like, no, that's a mic artifact. No, that's a processing artifact.
And yet we're talking about a world where, what was it, like 6 or 8 months ago, they received, I can't remember where it was, they received an electronic radio transmission, right, from World War I.
Oh yeah, those are always floating about.
Because they bounce off the ionosphere, the radio signals do, and they can bounce around the planet for decades, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And then come right back into equipment. And people are like, oh my God, ghosts. And I'm like, no, that's
Hitler.
Right. No, that's just how this stuff works. This is what happens when you put all of this electronic noise out into the world, and then you have these machines whose job is to record electronic noise. Yeah, you're going to pick up.
Like you could have been picking up on somebody's analog cell signal.
Right.
Like,
right.
These aren't that secure. I mean, digital, yes. Analog, no.
Right. And for those who remember, back when we had analog phones plugged into our walls, how many times lines would get crossed? And
you just start having a conversation with somebody and
right. And people, I think, honestly thought, and the play on words is that 2 telephone lines had crossed each other. That's not what happened.
No, they actually were just sitting really close to each other.
Right.
And they jumped.
Right.
Like
the electronic transmission jumped like a Jacob's ladder.
It's why it's called electromagnetic transmission, not just electronic, because there's magnetic fields involved and they really can interact with each other.
Right.
That's just like when you hear a buzz in something, it's because it's too close to a power thing somewhere.
Right. And 42 minutes. I guess we can. This guy, Mark Cowden.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Nice guy. No, he really does seem like a good guy.
He really is a nice guy. I don't want to like push that too much, but
so he built a preamp out of a violin.
Yeah.
And he put a noise generator on one F-hole and a microphone on the other F-hole.
Yes. Now, if you don't know, the F-hole is the hole on the violin that looks like an F.
Right. And when you play the strings, sound comes out of those.
Kind of. Sort of.
Well, part of the sound.
The F-holes actually tweak the resonance so that it sounds good.
Right. Yeah, because the body is actually just a giant resonance chamber.
It's the top of the thing that actually does most of the vibrating.
Right.
Just like a guitar.
Yeah.
The hole's just there to
make it sound
affect how it resonates.
Okay, so you have a violin, you have a resonance chamber, you have a microphone on one F-hole, and a noise generator on the other.
Yep.
His theory is that, I guess he saw somewhere.
Yeah, he stumbled on something on the internet that said that violins can resonate at frequencies above human hearing and below human hearing.
I don't think because he had
because he had the cello to do the other side.
Right. Which, okay.
Well, and but What he said was, if EVPs happen in human hearing, then there must be more EVPs that are happening outside of human hearing, because humans hear a fairly narrow range of sound.
Yeah.
There's much more sound. There's much more sound above human hearing and a little bit below.
Right.
And his argument is that you can say hello, but once you pitch shift it, it doesn't say hello anymore.
Right. So, and he's saying,
now, here,
if
I just like to do something here real quick.
okay.
Hello.
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 So that was my voice, pitch shifted twice, up and down. And still said hello.
Right. And anyone who's played with digital audio at all, I mean, yes, the analog is a little different simply because speed and time are connected.
Yeah.
Which, okay. So if you were to record something below human hearing and pitch shift it into a frequency that humans could hear, if you did that digitally, all that would change would be the pitch. That's why they call it pitch shifting.
Yes.
It wouldn't change.
If you try to do that,
it wouldn't change
analog though.
It would speed it up.
Same with that's why the Chipmunks were such an amazing thing when they came out.
Right.
Because
they were actually singing those songs really slow.
Yeah.
In order to get them, they would just play the tape faster.
In order to speed them up and up the pitch.
Right.
Ditto if something's too high,
right,
and you pitch shift it down.
Digitally, all you're doing is shifting the pitch. Nothing else changes.
Analog, you're slowing it down.
Right. So either way, moving these things into the realm of human hearing would, analog or digital, would just make them easier to hear.
Yeah. Now, but he ran with this.
Okay.
And he decided to use a violin as a sort of acoustic pitch shifter.
Which I can't.
And he lost me there.
Right. I don't understand. So because a violin can resonate above human hearing,
which I'm still not sold about, but
right,
we'll go with it.
Sure. Because it can, if you put a microphone through the F holes, it becomes a preamp.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm missing. Like I feel like we're missing something.
Yeah, that's. Let me.
I mean,
yeah, it's not going to be quite the same. Let me get my guitar real quick. I'm going to try an experiment.
Okay.
Because just, experiments are fun, right?
They are. No, I like it.
Talk to the people for a minute.
Hi, people. And again, I don't know if maybe just in this interview he didn't mention something because he figured no one would get it, and maybe there is a perfectly viable explanation that he's worked out and that would make perfect sense. And it's always a possibility. I don't know. I can't get my head around how that would work. How you would pitch shift something in the analog world other than helium. That's what they need to do. So they need to fill haunted houses with helium.
Hey, there we go. So here's my idea. I have a guitar in front of me.
Yes.
I'm going to talk into the resonant hole.
Okay.
And just see what we get.
Ooh, okay. No, that makes sense.
Okay, so here we go. Once I try to, I'm going to turn my gate off, so I apologize for the noisy for a minute.
Okay.
Hello, Satyr.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can.
So, what does it sound like?
It sounds like you're talking in a can.
Yeah,
I mean,
and there's...
I can kind of see. Okay.
Well, and if you notice, and I don't know if this is coming across, the strings are vibrating with what I'm saying.
Right. And they would, because that's...
Same with what a violin would do. Okay, I'm putting this down now because I can't handle not having the gate on.
Right. So I can hear your voice resonating around inside the body of the guitar. I could hear it changing the tone
Yep.
of your voice, pulling out different tones. I don't think it pitch shifted you at all.
I don't know.
It made you really boomy.
Yeah, it did that. And I could very much hear, like, all of the strings were just adding to whatever was there.
Okay.
So now picture this
and I remember,
with a noise generator.
And I remember him saying in the interview that he's using it to amplify the frequencies just like at the edge of human hearing.
Okay.
So that, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But see, for me, when he puts the noise generator on it, though,
right, then it just becomes.
Then it's just doing weird things to the noise generator.
Right. That's just.
Well, and then he goes in and does digital magic to it, which.
And and if you listen to, he's doing some weird things with resonance.
Yeah, he's got some weird digital magic going on.
Yeah.
And if you have to do digital magic to it to make it work.
I mean, I can understand playing with levels, even screwing with bringing certain frequencies down so that you can hear something better.
But he's doing like compression and it's
boosting.
It's like when the Face on Mars stuff was huge.
Right.
But it was based on it was based on a processed image.
Right. So there's no,
So it's like, so who knows what was an artifact and what was there?
Right. It seems like a really big stretch. And then he's recording this directly into a laptop.
Yep.
He's said that he's been able to
never mind that laptop sound cards aren't good.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to throw this out there. Anyone who listened to Erie Radio, that whine that you heard all the time,
laptop fan.
It was because they were using the laptop sound card.
Yeah.
And it's unshielded from the electronics inside of the laptop. Therefore, you get these weird whines and squeals and stuff.
And we have to talk about this for just a minute. If you're recording to a laptop, you're doing something called ADC, analog to digital conversion.
Yes.
A good ADC, you don't notice.
Right. You don't.
A bad ADC sounds awful.
Yeah.
And by the by, laptop sound cards are not good.
No.
ADCs.
No, they're not. They're not. Laptop sound cards by default are just, I mean, even sound nerdity aside, from a gamer, you learn pretty quickly that they're absolute crap.
Yeah. Even if you have speakers plugged into you, they're not good.
Right. You can have the most amazing speakers in the world, and that laptop sound card.
Well, it actually makes it worse.
Yeah, because then you can hear how bad it is. Ugh. So, I mean, there's kind of our first swipe. I mean, we can talk about this stuff more and actually get into like math and things if people are interested.
But it's just I won't buy EVPs until somebody does it without using crappy microphones.
Right.
And crappy recordings. I mean, it just, you gotta.
Right. And see, I want someone like, I want you to do an EVP with that gear list, to go record EVPs, because A, you don't even believe that they're a thing.
Yeah.
And B, you have the know-how and would have the equipment to do it right. What we're doing, what all these people who find EVPs are people who absolutely 100% believe in ghosts.
Yes.
Who have tweaked their recording kits to pick up as many EVPs as possible. And and that is including the entire spectrum of EVPs. But when most people talk about EVPs, they're talking about they're talking about ghosts, right? But EVPs,
it's not.
That's one tiny sliver.
Something that sounds like voice,
right? And there's an entire spectrum of things that are considered EVPs they have nothing to do with the paranormal. It's like the phones crossing. That's an EVP. but it's not
not
paranormal.
unlike how a UFO, everyone thinks that a UFO means aliens. It's like, no, it just means there's something in the air that no one knows what it is.
Right, exactly. But just like with UFOs, if you say UFOs, everybody's brain automatically goes to aliens. So there are EVPs out there that are absolutely explainable. There's nothing magic or mystical about them at all. In fact,
there was a system I mixed on that had an EVP consistently.
Nice.
It was X96, 96.3 FM.
Mm-hmm. It's always lovely.
That's an EVP, and yeah, imagine that happening at a church. Actually, there was one time we picked up the Vikings game. So I'm sitting there, like with my head next to the monitor speaker, going, "What's the score? What's the score? Someone give me a score before I have to play."
I mean, it's there. So, and I think that's a thing that gets downplayed. That EVPs happen all the time. They happen all the time, and 99.999% of them are absolutely explainable.
Yes,
we need to focus more on doing that last 0.0001% correctly.
Yeah.
Because as far as I can tell, it's all just farce. It's all crap. It's all bullshit. Because until people actively, like, you know, these people say, I've been working with EVPs for 30 years. Well, you obviously don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you're on the boat for the gravy train.
And it's just, and that's part, a lot of the trouble is, I mean, you've got these,
and
I want someone who doesn't believe in ghosts
to find proof of ghosts,
to find proof of EVPs.
Right.
And not do it with a noise generator and cheap gear.
Right. And if you, I know you don't listen to paranormal podcasts at all.
No, I do not.
There is a very definitive shift in ghost hunting more towards the middle, right? It's shifting away from the two extremes of, you know, we're here to find ghosts and we're here to prove that you're all idiots. It's shifting much more to, we're not here to prove anything except scientific theory. Like, we're going to go at this with an absolutely scientific mind frame. So that it doesn't matter if I believe in them or not, because it won't affect this method. Right.
Yeah.
And I like that. I take that information in much easier than I do people who are like, oh yeah, I've been abducted 50 times. And, you know, I've had ghosts in my house since I was 9. And yeah, here's my book. No, you're obviously slanted in that direction. You know what I mean?
It's like when, I don't want to go here. It's like asking a Christian to tell you about God. Like, does a Christian has a good understanding of how they think God works?
Right.
And like, if someone, you know, I'm someone who was raised as a Christian.
Right.
Right. I have a lot more respect for people that weren't.
But that have,
because they've kind of experienced both sides.
Right.
Like people who weren't raised Christian, but became Christian later in life.
Right. No, I can see that.
Having kind of not just grown up into it and
following along.
Almost it's been all you've known.
Right.
Versus, yeah, I played the other side and now I'm here.
Right.
Like,
right. No, that makes sense. I actively made a choice to be here instead of, well, I'm here because this was where the car was going. You know what I mean? But until someone starts treating EVPs with that same kind of, we need to do this in the most scientific method way possible. You know, we need to get people who have spent their lives working with audio and audio engineering and who know the math, who can walk into a room and tell you what the room is, the resonant hum of the room is.
Yeah. No, to put it not in, to put it in a spot where the resonance isn't going to get in the way.
Right. And until people like that start paying attention, I don't think it's even a valid topic. I think we're done.
Yeah, we need to wrap up because we're pushing an hour, and this is quite the bonus content.
Yes, you gotta. Oh yeah, let's go. You know where to find us.
Yeah,
we're on the iTunes.
If you forgot, just listen to the episode again, the real episode, not the bonus episode.
Right, and swing by and check out the other bonus episode while you're here too. It was fun. Yeah. We were much drunker then. I was.
That one was a trip.
I'm sober this time. This might be the first time you guys have ever heard me sober.
Wow,
how crazy is that?
Well, aside from Digital Zero.
Oh, that's true. But not many people have heard that.
That's true.
It's like a secret society.
Nobody cared about
all
that
12
show.
of you that listen to that show.
All right, kids. Until next time, may God have mercy on your souls.
And if he doesn't, well, you can always record an EVP of it.